In today's video, I've got a very special guest here with me, Sebastian, and we'll talk about live underwater video competitions coming up. Hi and welcome back to the Underwater Filmmaking School, and thank you very much for tuning in again. Now today's video is slightly different. Today I've got a guest with me and I'm very excited to welcome Sebastian here in the show. Thank you very much for taking the time and actually coming from behind the camera in front of the camera. Sebastian is my friend and camera operator who's normally standing behind the camera, but for this video today I could motivate him to actually come in front of the camera and talk about our experiences in the past underwater live video competition that was held earlier in October. Now, Sebastian, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What got you into filmmaking underwater?
Well, hi everyone. My name is Sebastian, and well, I started a couple of years ago with filming, and a friend of mine had a little production company, and I helped him as a camera operator or as an editor. And then I started in actually in New Zealand. I started diving, and I was so fascinated about this whole underwater world that I thought, okay, I had to bring my camera underwater. And yeah, that's the moment it made how do you say that? It made whoosh.
It's the click moment.
The click moment,
where
yeah.
The story started.
And I started, more like a hobby, doing some filmmaking stuff underwater with my camera. Yeah, and a couple of years ago, I started my own company for underwater video production. And then I think 2 years ago, we met here actually in this store. And the whole underwater filmmaking school thing started.
Pretty much, yeah, it was here in this store, and it was pretty much to the date, I would even say 2 years ago, that we met here in the store. Well, I'm very glad we did meet here in the store back then, and thank you so much for all the support you're giving to the Underwater Filmmaking School and the development of this channel here. I know, and I guess the people out there know as well, that I would not be able to do what I do without the support of you and making sure that every scene that we capture looks nice, because that's what Sebastian is really proficient in. Taking care of all the little details, making sure that nothing is in the frame that shouldn't be in the frame. So thank you very much for your detail there and for your careful way in producing these videos. But this is not why we're here today. This is not what we want to talk about. Today we want to talk about live underwater video competitions. Why did we pick up this topic? We mentioned it in the last news flash because both of us competed in the past Swiss Underwater Video Challenge. And we want to take this chance to give you guys a bit of a kind of a view behind the curtains of how such a underwater video competition, a live competition works, and what is involved in creating a video during such a competition. Now, for me, it was from the very beginning fairly clear that I was going to compete in that competition. I have been waiting for years now for someone to actually sign up as well for these competitions. The past couple times it was held, there was no one else who signed up other than myself, which was good for me because I didn't have to compete and I was sent off to European and World Championships, and I was able to compete there for Switzerland. But it was nice this time to have some competition. All in all, there was 4 teams competing this year. But tell us your story. Why did you decide to compete at the Swiss Championship?
Well, actually, the reason is sitting right here. The reason is you. You encouraged me a couple of times to participate in the Swiss Championship. And I was always like, I don't know. And at a certain point, I was like, okay, let's do it. And I asked an old friend of mine if he is into doing a little passion project and competing in the Swiss Championship, and here we are.
Easy as that. Okay, fantastic. Now, before we go any further, I just want to let you know, guys, that obviously the competition is over. We've handed in our finished videos, and they've already been published on this channel. If you've missed the videos, we'll link them actually just above your head. Yeah, there's going to be the card link up there, so feel free to first of all check out Sebastian's video, which has the name Daydreaming, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then after that, I'll link my video as well, which is called Stress Relief. So feel free to have a look at those videos first and then come back to this video so you got a bit of a context of what we're talking about if you haven't seen the videos yet. Now, Sebastian, what I'm really interested in from like a personal perspective, at a personal point of view, is your preparation for this competition. Because I know that I obviously did prepare for the competition, but I could have probably prepared a little better than what I did. I did a couple of dives at the dive site, and we had a bit of a kind of a concept and an idea of what we wanted to do. But I know that you went all in with your preparation, as far as I could tell from what I saw. So I'm really interested in hearing how you prepared and why you prepared in such a way. But before we go into this, I forgot to mention to you guys the whole parameter of the competition was that all the shots had to be taken during one day, which was the 10th of October. It was on one specific dive site that was designated beforehand. So you could do as many dives as you wanted from after you've signed in at 8 o'clock in the morning up until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. All the dives, all the underwater shots had to be taken at that specific dive site. Any land-based topside shots could have been taken anywhere, but they also had to be taken during the same day. And then you had a week to actually finish the edit and finish your video and hand it in to the jury. So having cleared that up, Sebastian, preparation, how did that go?
Well, we didn't prep enough.
You never prep enough, right?
Yeah, but as you said, we had a very ambitious plan. We wanted to work with a freediver, which involved a little bit more safety measures, a little bit more communication, and a little bit more detailed shot list. So what we did is, I think you did as well, some test dives. We took some footage and checked out the scenes, the lighting. And we tried to find as many spots as possible and get our shot list and prep as good as possible for the competition. I think that the main part was like having a shot list and getting the freediver a clear overview what is going to happen, because as you all know, underwater communication is pretty complicated, and to be very precise, you should have a plan to stick to get what you want at the end.
How did you manage that communication between yourself? Because as far as I understand, you had a support team on the surface as well. Then the freediver, obviously, which was going up and down, and you and your buddy safety diver underwater as well. How did you communicate between like the three parties there?
We had two people underwater, like me and my buddy, and the safety diver for the freediver and the freediver itself on top side. That's it. And we had a printed out shot list, so the agreement before was like we're doing every shot 2 times. Doesn't matter if it's good or not, just 2 times and then the next one. So we go step by step, because some of the shots were pretty deep, pretty deep. We're at a decent depth, like 25 meters.
That's the shots down at the wall.
Yeah,
right?
the wall. Yeah, right. So our time was limited there. The freediver's time was approximately 30 seconds for the scene, like going into the scene, doing the acting, and then leaving the scene. So we want to make a clear shot list, and then we had some signs from the safety boy for the freediver with the rope. We had some signs when he's prepping for coming down, and then my buddy was right at the rope and instructing him where to go and which side to enter the frame and stuff like that. So this was like the kind of communication we wanted to achieve underwater, and we realized, because we never did any project before together, that in the first dive it was not that clear as we thought it was, and so the first dive was complicated. Let's put it complicated.
Okay.
But after the first dive, we talked about it again and figured out a way how to really do it, and it went pretty well. So the first dive should have been like 2 days before, and then we'd be all right. But yeah, at the end, we were happy. Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Yeah, I think you got some really amazing shots of that freediver coming down into the water, and then also what I really like is the shot where he swims through the seagrass, which is, I guess this is a shallower water, but where he swims through the seagrass, and you get like more of a three-dimensional image because you've got those different elements of, you know, the seagrass, the diver or the freediver, and some other objects in the background as well. So I really enjoyed those images as well. But I can imagine working with a freediver being very, very difficult in terms of the communication, in terms of how spot on you have to be with your performance, because as you said yourself, he's not there for half an hour, he's there for a couple of seconds each time he comes down, and you have to get the shot done then. On our project, I think it was much easier because I just had Pascal, my dive buddy and model, and he was on scuba, so it was much easier to, well, not the communication, that was terrible. Pascal, we're terrible at communicating underwater, we definitely have to change that. But it was just much easier to, because we had more time and we could just redo stuff without having to do much. Plus we stayed a lot more shallow, so in between the different shots we were able to just pop up to the surface and, you know, just talk to each other and say, oh look, try to do it slightly different and redo the scene that way, which we did deliberately. We didn't go too deep on a purpose, just to be able to actually do that, come up and down, and talk about the different shots. That
I mean, you see in the first scene of our film is when the freediver is entering the wall. Diving in a lake with a bad visibility and all that stuff and all the lighting, the visibility was even worse than days before, so we had to adjust the lighting and a distance to the wall, and alone this moment to change where the freediver has to enter the frame took us two shots, actually another dive with again 2 shots to get in the right position, and if you only have this short amount of time underwater and for the whole lake for competition, it makes things a lot more complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot more challenging and a lot more fun.
A lot more fun too. I agree, yeah, because this is the thing with having a time limit and being kind of forced to deliver at a certain point. You just have to do whatever you can do at that time and work with what you've got. And as you said before, you're never prepared enough. You can always prepare better, but then again, you cannot control the environment. You cannot control the weather. The weather was terrible. It was raining all day. Like, it was the day I would not go diving deliberately. Like, I would stay in bed if it wasn't a competition. It's what it is, and you just have to work with it. And this is what kind of is some of the magic, in my opinion, of these live competitions, because everyone has to work with the same conditions, the same situation, and get the best out of it.
Yeah, and I have all my respect for the freedivers, because I was going in a dry suit, but the freedivers were going wet. And
how cold was it down there in 25 meters?
I think it was about 7-8 degrees centigrade.
Yeah, that's cold. Yeah.
For them, after one dive, it took like 20 minutes, half an hour to get them warmed up again and do it again. So they were really like pushing the limit.
I can imagine. Yeah, good on them. Well, respect. Well done. Nice. Okay, so what was the most challenging part? Looking back at it now that it's all finished, all done, throughout the entire competition, what was for you the most challenging part?
Time and communication.
Is that what we mentioned before?
Yeah. Like I said, if we would have more time, it would have been easier to get the scene the way you wanted it.
Yeah.
And communication, if you would have worked out a communication scheme, I would say, before, it would be much easier underwater than to get really clear idea what I want from the freediver, or what are his limitations, or stuff like that.
Sure. Okay. Are you planning on doing more like passion projects, as you call them, within that team now that you've started?
We talked about that I think a week ago. something with a friend. It's like, hey, yeah, I mean, it was very nice to do it in a championship, but it would be amazing to do it on a, like I said, a passion project, but with a open time frame, just to do it in a nice weather and do it when the visibility is good and stuff like that. Yeah. Definitely, awesome. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Looking forward to seeing that. Awesome. Right, so obviously, as we said, the competition is done, the films are handed in, the results are out. Talking about the results, how happy are you with, well, first of all, before we talk about the results, how happy are you with the film that you delivered?
Having in mind the conditions of that day, as you mentioned, raining, cold, bad visibility, all that stuff, and we never worked in a team together. My team and me were pretty happy with the result. Cool. Like it was like, yeah, cool. We could we delivered. So that's the most important part. We really could deliver, and I think it was a very nice short movie for a competition. So we're pretty happy.
Yeah. I agree. Completely. Yeah. Please let us know down in the comment section what you think about Sebastian's movie, and because I really think you did a great job there, considering the conditions and considering the time limitations that there was putting out such a movie. What really touched me is that you told the story without using any words. Like your images were so strong that they really tell a story without having the need of using words to do so. I envy you a little bit for that because I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, I really enjoyed your film immensely, really. And so I'm getting off topic. Coming back to the topic, results. So happy with the film. What about the placement?
Well, actually, if you enter a competition, your goal is to win the competition. And if you don't do it, you wouldn't be satisfied. And so it's like the result is the result. That's it. And we had a lot of fun. That's the most important part. And I think we produced a little movie, which is quite nice. The most complicated part of the result for us was we had no feedback. You know, if like a community, let us know in the comment section below what you think about the movie, because we had no idea what was the criteria
on how they judged it.
If they said okay, because for example, we know that our underwater footage was not as good as possible. It would have been possible with more time, or if you would do something different. So you know, we had our weak spots, and it would be nice to know at the end, because of this and this, your video had got their minus point or whatever, something like that. So it would have been nice to get a feedback to improve. We didn't get that, but at the end, I mean, we had fun. It was a really, really, really fun day.
Yeah. Well, that's actually the way to look at it, I think. And in my opinion, I really think it's a pity that not more underwater videographers are taking part in these competitions. I can see why, because yes, you are kind of put to the point where you have to perform right there and then, and you cannot just not hand something in and just redo it, because it's got to be done there and then. And that's what's really challenging about it. And I can see how especially some more well-known underwater videographers are kind of resistant or reluctant to compete in such competitions. I find it a pity. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very challenging, but it also pushes your limits and makes you more creative in a certain way. And I've always enjoyed competing in these live competitions. I've done a couple of them already, and I've always had a lot of fun, even though the result wasn't always as desired. But it was always a lot of fun, and that's what's really important.
Yeah, and I mean, you learn a lot. So sure. like I said before, like about the communication, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
About preparation, and so you learn, and you can use it like in your next passion project, or even in commercial project, you can use that
Absolutely.
that the feedback you got from your team, or the stuff you learned.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So clearing it up, because we didn't say it before, Sebastian placed second in the Swiss Championship. Well, I've got to say it now. I was first, but I would have been a very happy second placed, having your movie being placed the first. But that's what Sebastian meant when he said before that we didn't get any feedback. For us, it was really difficult to understand why my film got placed first and Sebastian's second, and not vice versa. Because I mean, we exchanged films even before we handed them in, and we had a look at each other's film and gave each other feedback regarding the films. And I would have been perfectly happy for you to get that first place and me the second. It's just the way the jury decided, but it's difficult not knowing what was important to them, and that would have been really, really nice. So if any jury members are watching this from any other video competitions, this is really something important. Give feedback to the people that compete in your competitions, because that's what you really want. That's the way how you can improve. And we've discussed this quite a bit, and we've actually come up with kind of an idea that we want to propose here and see whether or not this is something that you guys would be interested in, because we thought we would actually want to have a platform or provide a platform for you guys to be able to supply us or submit your underwater work, and we would judge it with the expertise that we've got, and give you feedback on what we think. We also want to try to make this a proper competition by getting some sponsors on board and getting some prizes for at least the first 3 places in the competition. Right now we haven't got anything ready to announce, but we'll discuss all the details. We'll come up with a plan, and next year, at the beginning of next year, we'll come out with a competition format that we want to launch here on the channel, and give you the chance to submit your work. It's going to be themed, so you can submit your work. We'll judge it. We'll give you clear feedback on all of your films that are supplied, and we'll just. I really want to make this whole competition feeling a bit more present in underwater filmmaking. I think it's good to push boundaries, and it's also going to help people be more creative.
Yeah. As we said before, it gives you a lot at the end. I mean, even if you're not the winner of a competition, or even if you like on the 5th place or whatever, if you get a feedback, you will improve your work.
Absolutely.
And even only with the competition, you will learn a lot how to improve workflows and stuff like that.
For sure.
So I think it's pretty cool environment to improve your filmmaking skills.
Learn and develop. But let us know what you think about this. Is this something you would be up for? Would you consider submitting a underwater video, an underwater film of yourself to such a competition? We would really love to hear your feedback there, and if there's plenty of people or enough people interested in that, we'll definitely go ahead and make this happen at the beginning of next year. Right. Now, being placed first and second in the Swiss Championship qualifies the 2 of us to go on to the World Championship next year, which will be held on Madeira Island in Portugal. Are you going? Of course. Okay, fantastic. As long as...
Of course. But we'll see how the COVID-19 restrictions develop next year.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So this is going to be very exciting. Now, these World Championships, they are a lot of fun. It works slightly different. Normally you get there like a couple of days ahead of the competition. You do a couple of dives to get to know the area. And then you have like a week of competing. It's basically 1 training day and then 2 competition days with 2 dives each. So it's not, you can't dive as often as you want. You're on boats. The dive sites are decided for you, which dive sites you're going to be going to. And you've got, I think it's 90 minutes max on each dive, or as long as your tank lasts. So you've got 4 dives, and then you have, this is the challenging part, you only have I think it's 6 hours of editing time. So all your editing has to be done within 6 hours.
Pretty limited.
Yes, and you do it all at the same time. So all the videographers are sitting in the same room, editing together from start to finish. But it's only 6 hours, but you can kind of prepare a lot of the stuff beforehand, like your speaker voice, your narrator voice, you can prepare beforehand, all your animations, your graphics, your titles, music, all that sort of stuff can be prepared beforehand. And then it's kind of, this is the part that I don't really like too much about it, it's kind of like you coming there with a sort of a template and you just fill in the blanks with underwater clips. Personally, I would like it a lot more to be actually a live competition where you have to create everything that you submit on spot. So no external narrator voice, no pre-produced effects and all that sort of stuff. Because if you look at the movies or the films that were submitted in the previous championships, world championships, and the ones that won, they all look more like kind of BBC productions, you know, with like really fancy overlays and graphics and animations and all that sort of stuff. There's no way these guys were able to do that within 6 hours. So that was all pre-produced, perfectly fine because it's within the rules, but I personally would like to have those rules changed so that it's more like a live competition and you really have to work with what you get there and can't really prepare too much beforehand. Right, so that's about it. That's really about what we had to wanted to talk about today. Any add-ons from your side, Sebastian? Anything else you want to share with us regarding your experience at the Swiss Underwater Video Challenge?
Yeah, as we mentioned before, if you have the chance to participate in any live competition, just do it. You will learn so much stuff along the way, during the competition, after the competition, with feedback and all that stuff. I mean, you only improve your filmmaking skills. So, yeah, do it. Just do it.
Just do it. That will do it for today. Thank you very much, guys, for being with us and watching this slightly different episode of the Underwater Filmmaking School. Sebastian, thank you so much for actually coming in front of the camera rather than staying behind it, and for sharing your experiences and your thoughts about this past championship, the Swiss Underwater Video Championship. And I'm really looking forward to having you join our team at the World Championship.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting.
In Madeira. I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm sure we're going to do everything we can to bring at least some medal home from Portugal. Well, we'll see how that works. Excellent. Thank you so much, Sebastian, again. Thank you guys for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, if you like this format, please do not forget to hit that like button. You know, it means a lot to both of us. And also consider subscribing to the channel so you're not missing out on any content that will be uploaded here in the future. Also, please do let us know about that idea with the video competition that we want to launch here on the channel. We'd really be interested to hear your thoughts about that. Thanks a lot. Happy diving, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.